Good morning, friends. I know it's early. Welcome back to Deep South EDC, but I did see this story this morning, so I thought, I should share it with everybody. So let's just jump into it. This is from yesterday afternoon, from Reuters. The headline is "Ban on Marijuana Users Owning Guns is Unconstitutional, U.S. Judge Rules." The story goes, a federal law, let me start over. It's early. A federal law prohibiting marijuana users from possessing firearms is unconstitutional, a federal judge in Oklahoma has concluded, citing last year's U.S. Supreme Court ruling that significantly expanded gun rights. Now, what they're referring to here is the Bruin decision, which didn't expand gun rights, it just set gun rights back to where they originally were. Daily Knife 2, how's it going, man? Glad to see you up this early. The story continues. U.S. District Judge Patrick Wyrick, an appointee of former Republican President Donald Trump in Oklahoma City, on Friday dismissed an indictment against a man charged in August with violating that ban, saying it infringed his right to bear arms under the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment. Judge Wyrick said that while the government can protect the public from dangers while possessing guns, it cannot argue Jared Harrison's quote, mere status as a user of marijuana justifies stripping him of his fundamental rights to possess a firearm. He said using marijuana was, quote, not in and of itself a violent, forceful, or threatening act, end quote, and noted that Oklahoma is one of a number of states where the drug, still illegal under federal law, can legally be bought for medical purposes. Quote, the mere use of marijuana carries none of the characteristics that the nation's history and traditional use of firearms regulation supports, Wyrick wrote. Laura Deskin, a public defender representing Harrison, said the ruling was, quote, a step in the right direction for a large number of Americans who deserve the right to bear arms and protect their homes just like any other American. She called marijuana the most commonly used drug illegal at the federal level. The U.S. Department of Justice did not respond to requests for a comment, but it's likely to appeal. The decision marked the latest instance of a court declaring a gun regulation unconstitutional after the U.S. Supreme Court 6-3 conservative majority in June ruled that the Second Amendment protects a person's right to carry a handgun in public for self-defense. The ruling, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, announced a new testing for assessing firearm laws, saying restrictions must be, quote, consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. On Thursday, the New Orleans-based Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals cited that decision in declaring unconstitutional a federal law barring people under domestic violence restraining orders from owning guns. So that's kind of a lot to take in there. So I'm not sure how this is going to affect things going forward. So far, it's getting appealed. Here in New Orleans, they're appealing that decision because they want domestic violence restraining orders, people who have those, to not be able to have firearms. That's kind of a slippery slope because you're punishing somebody who's not convicted of anything. If a person is violent, they should be in jail and not have a restraining order. So I think the whole Extreme Risk Protection Act kind of thing, it's kind of like covering for the cops, like, oh, this guy, or for the justice system, like, oh, this guy should have been in jail, but he's not. So let's just take his guns so he can't, what it doesn't really make sense when you actually think about it. As far as the ban on marijuana users owning guns is unconstitutional, I mean, I kind of agree with that. It's not crack or anything like that. So right now it is going to the Court of Appeals. So it says that, so just because the federal judge, I guess, ruled that it was unconstitutional, since it is going through the Court of Appeals, I don't expect anything to change yet unless the appeal is not won. So if the appeal does not end up going through, what do you think will happen? I mean, let me give you some advice from someone who's purchased some firearms. Local gun stores or anybody behind a gun counter selling the firearm can still choose not to sell you the firearm. If your 4473 form comes back clean, whatever, if you're putting out weird vibes, if you come in drunk, if you look like you're high, even on weed, they can still deny you a firearm sale. So even though that this ruling was made, the 4473 form is still going to be the same as it is now. So one of the questions on that form is asking you if you do illegal drugs or have you ever been addicted to. There's something that has to do with illegal drugs. I'm not telling you to lie on that form. I'm just telling you what's on that form. Even though that this decision was made, that question is still on the form. So depending on how you answer that question too, you still may get denied, even though this decision was made. Just be smart about it. I mean, you shouldn't be handling a weapon under the influence of anything anyway. So I wouldn't go out to buy my new rifle or my new handgun all fucking baked, you know what I mean? So but I just wanted to get that story out because it's kind of important. Since we had that Bruin decision, we've had a lot of wins here in the Second Amendment community, and that's something I'm pretty happy for. You know, I just kind of got into the firearm game like 5 years ago, and I went from knowing nothing to full every gun law is an infringement. So that's how far I've come. So we got some comments in the chat here. We got the Daily Knife 2. He says, I don't do weed, but the video is mostly for people watching after the fact. Yeah, that's true. All right, man. I'll do some shout outs. Daily Knife 2. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for always coming by. Your channel is going to be big soon. Can't wait. My cousin runs a channel called AZ Air Gunner. He does like ammo expansion, ammo testing. He just got monetized. So you guys should go check him out. He has some pretty cool stuff on his channel. Pretty much just tests like different handgun loads, like, you know, all calibers really. But I'll leave that right there. So today is Sunday. We got some Mardi Gras parades going on tonight. I believe it's the Crew Delusion tonight. So if you guys are out there, just make sure you're safe. And remember, 100% of all home invasions happen inside the home. So stay well regulated. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. See you later, Daily Knife.